money I make on the house. I just need to make the money so that I can move on with my life. Um, so I failed to ask them what the bottom line was. And I think that's important that we ask those questions at the listing appointment, because it's a possibility that we could have had the house sold a long time ago. Well, I ended up dropping the price per their request to fit what they were looking for, not necessarily what our comp said. And it went under contract the next day. Um, and they're happy with it, because ultimately the net profit that they're going to receive, and they can proceed to move to Iowa as they wished. So it's important that we're setting the expectation either way with our client. And I use that as an example because this is what I didn't set that proper expectation for them, because I'm so used to going at it as if, we have to get the most for our client in every situation. And as good agents, that's what we're taught to do. But I think in my case, I took it as a learning opportunity for me to listen a little bit more to what's beneficial for the client, so these are just things that can help you as you're out there navigating. Popular areas right now for first-time home buyers was a big one here, since the buyers are coming back. The East Valley, if you're looking in the East Valley, Santan Valley has pretty reasonable price houses. Florence, I think Hannah just closed one in Florence. Mesa and Chandler, certain parts of Chandler, has great neighborhoods, and the price per square foot out there is pretty good right now. In the West Valley, as you know, Surprise is blowing up right now. Buckeye, Goodyear, Litchfield Park, all those areas have been great for home buyers when it comes to the pricing. Home buyers are ultimately, especially first-time home buyers, as you know, sometimes they don't have the down payments. So it's always a good idea to know and get with your lenders to know what their down payment programs are all about. You don't have to be the expert, but you just have to know enough to get your buyers interested and get them excited about it. A lot of the builders right now are still offering great incentives. I have a young lady who used to be on my team at HomeSmart. She works for one of the builders out in Buckeye, and they're offering up to $20,000 to cover your closing costs and a 3.99% FHA loan. It's a 30-year loan, so it's not even the 5/1 ARM, and the houses are brand new. So if you guys are interested or have clients that are interested in looking in the Buckeye area, I have a young lady who's a friend of mine who's one of the sales agents at, I can't think of the name of the, it's not one of the builders that I actually know. It's a newer one to Arizona, but she went to work for them a few months ago, and she seems to love it, and people are ultimately purchasing homes at really good deals out in the Buckeye area. Surprise also has similar deals for our first-time home buyers and any home buyers really, but the first-time home buyers, I know a lot of times they don't have a lot of money going into it, and if there's these programs out there that might be able to help, let's see if we can get them into those. Let's see. A couple things that are upcoming that I wanted to talk to you about. Many of you may have gotten an email from ARMLS regarding the new subscriber dashboard. I'm not sure if anyone's got those, but on March 25th, an email went out from ARMLS about notifying subscribers that there's going to be a new passkey option to sign into ARMLS. The new system will go into effect on April 8th. So the passkey, you can use the biometrics, but a lot of times it will bring up a QR code and you scan it with your cell phone in order to get you into the services. So I can't play golf tonight, man. Sorry, I'm getting a text message. Yeah, so you actually will scan the QR code and it'll let you into the service, but ARMLS is going to be activating this for us on April 8th. I've already had one or two questions about it. Can we still use the password that we currently have in the way that we have it set up? The answer is yes. The password will still work, but if you wanted to secure it just a little bit more, you're welcome to use the passkey option that is coming to ARMLS. So if you get those emails, it's not mandatory. Nope.
Okay.
As of right now, it's not. You can still use the password if you like, but you will be getting an email. They sent one out on March 25th, and there's another one that will be going out on April 1st to allow you to go ahead and create your user ID and your password in order to get the passkey set up to go into ARMLS, the dashboard. So the dashboard includes ARMLS, transaction desk, Authentisign. There's like, I think 5 different programs that you'll get on using the dashboard, but you can do the passkey for each one of them if you want to use it that way. If not, you can continue to use the password. To be honest with you, Maria, I'll probably continue to use the password myself. Don't want to complicate things. So the next thing that has come out, how many times have you guys, so when you go to a listing appointment and you have to work with the SPUDs, do you just give the clients the SPUDs and have them fill it out and they scan it back to you later, or how do you guys work that out?
I try to explain it to them as best I can. I tell them not to try not to leave anything blank.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've learned is to tell them, please don't guess.
Yeah.
If you don't know something, be honest, put on there that you don't know it. So I kind of just try to, reiterate that, try to fill out every single line that you can.
Absolutely. And like you said, be honest. Don't guess. If you don't know, just put you don't know. That's right. The best way to keep them out of trouble and keep you out of trouble. Right. So in the past, the SPUDs had to be done either in person, or you can explain it to them and leave it with them, and then they can scan it back over to you later. Well, the Arizona Association of Realtors has partnered with SkySlope with a program called Breeze by SkySlope. And what Breeze does is allows you to electronically have your clients complete the SPUDs. So it's not something that has to be done manually. I really like this program just because in the past, they're checking all the boxes and they're kind of going through it. Typically, I go through it with them if I'm sitting there. But sometimes, depending on the savviness of the client, I'll leave it and just say, hey, I need this back. And the next day, take your time with it. Be honest about it. Again, if you don't, like Maria said, if you don't know, please just share you don't know. But I didn't know. What I didn't know was that, I'm just going to read what I wrote here. It says here, where did I write it? I know I read it earlier. So if you take a seller disclosure and you put it into a PDF fillable form, it's actually a copyright violation of the form. So we are not allowed to do that. So the way we've been doing it, if you're sitting in front of your clients and you're actually going through the SPUDs with them, or you leave it there with them and they can fill it out and sign it and scan it back to you, that's actually the proper way to do it. I have gotten SPUDs from other agents that have been electronically filled out. But what I didn't know was that's actually a violation of the copyright of the form itself. Breeze, this new program, it alleviates that because it's actually associated with the Department of Real Estate and the Arizona Association of Realtors, which are the people that made the form. So if you are interested in using Breeze by SkySlope, this is a separate system, but that you can have the SPUDs. So there's 11 documents in there. The ones that we'll probably use the most is going to be the seller disclosures and the lead-based paint disclosures. Interestingly enough, the lead-based paint disclosure, it only says it's for the rentals. It doesn't have the one for the purchases that it said it had. So, and then there's 9 other documents that you can have your clients complete electronically through this system. So if this is something that you're interested in, it's literally, you can go to the Arizona Department of Realtor or the Arizona Association of Realtors website, or you can go to breeze.skyslope.com and you can set up a profile. I actually set mine up this morning because I wanted to see how the system worked. And it is pretty much, you can put in an MLS number. It'll pre-fill the information. You can put in your client's information. It'll pre-fill what it can. And then your client's email addresses will go in there and it will send the form to your clients so that they can fill it out electronically, and they can sign electronically through the secure site that they've created.
Can you say the
website?
The website one more time, please?
Yep, it's Breeze. So BREEZE.skyslope.com.
Thank you.
And again, this is a free service brought to you by the Arizona Association of Realtors. But I think this is just another way to make it a little bit easier for our clients to complete these forms. Because I know sometimes if I do leave it with them, it takes me a little longer to get it back, because not only do they have to fill it out, some of them don't have scanners and things like that. I have driven back to Sun City to pick up this form once or twice. So I totally understand that this might make it a little bit easier. So the next part is going to be a little bit more interactive, but I need to ask your opinion. I talked to some of you about this already. So I know for a fact that there are a couple of you have put in transactions in the system that's called Transact. So there's a transaction desk, and then there's a Transact. So when you go and you create a new transaction, you have the option through Lone Wolf to go with Transact or Transaction Desk. So for those of you that have used Transact and now have converted over to Transaction Desk, I just want to get your opinions on them both. So Maria, if I'm going to pick on you a little bit, can you give me your opinions on the two systems just briefly?
To be honest, I liked the first one.
Transact.
Yes.
Okay.
And then after you and I talked and I started using that one, it was a little more confusing. I was having a hard time, okay, where did I put this? Because I know I've sent you other stuff for review, and now it's not there. So I don't know. I liked the first one best.
Okay, so you said Transaction Desk is confusing compared to Transact, in your opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And Eric, I know you did something similar where you put it into Transact first, and then you had to move it to Transaction Desk. Would you mind sharing your opinion with me, sir?
Yeah, I'm of the same mind that Transact, the way it organized the documents was a lot easier. And then when I moved everything over, I had the same issue. Like it was saving it into subfolders. I guess it's just more user friendly. So yeah, I mean, I had only used .loop once, and then we changed to the new one.
Right.
And I just clicked on Transact thinking that was the new one and put everything in there.
Hannah, have you used Transact or Transaction Desk? Have you used Transact? She's on. Okay.
Sorry, couldn't find
that's okay.
the button to unmute. So I've used Transaction Desk.
Okay.
I have not used Transact. It did take me to Transact at one point, but it felt uncomfortable. But I think that's just because I'd never used it before.
Sure.
And so, that's kind of where I'm at with it. So far, I think I prefer the Transaction Desk, but hearing the feedback today, I might go ahead and give the other one a try.
Okay. So here's what's happening. We decided to go with Transaction Desk simply because the Association of Realtors and a lot of the other broker mentors that we have are using the system. So there is a lot of great attributes that come along with Transaction Desk. However, a lot of the companies that are using Transaction Desk are converting over to their new system called Transact. For us, we have the option of using either one. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out which one is the better one, so that we can make a decision and move to either Transaction Desk or Transact. Transaction Desk, from a broker standpoint, it's been pretty, I can't say it's been easy to use, but it does have some attributes that I really like as far as the reporting part. Transact, I still have to dig a little bit deeper, but it does give me the feel of like the .loop system, because you can see the pictures, you can create the checklist. The signature pieces are still separate. That's still with the AuthentiSign system, but I think it's the flow of it is a little bit better. I know, our marketing professional within our group, Brian, he doesn't like the way Transaction Desk is so antiquated. He's like, it reminds him of a DOS system. Like there's 4 different scroll bars on the same screen, and it drives him nuts. But I noticed that on Transact, it's a little bit more, seems to be a little bit more user friendly. But I wanted to get the feedback of the group before we made a decision of what direction to go and what ultimately will be easier. just because, again, our jobs is to try to make your lives easier and your careers easier. Eric,
Yeah,
say?
I'd add to that too with what you're talking about, where you can unlock and shift parts of your dashboard around how you want or whatever. It's for the first time using it for me, like it was pretty difficult to figure out, like you said, with all the
Sure.
scrolling options and trying to get to where I wanted to go, and it kind of locks up. So I'd agree with that too.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just taking a few notes here because as we're weighing it out, because ultimately what it'll do is we just have to move the files over to the other system, and we already technically have access to it. That's the reason why you were able to get into it. However, when we first started, I did ask them to limit that access just for confusion purposes, because if you create a new transaction, it gives you the choice of which one you want to choose. One says transaction desk legacy, one says transact. Most people will go with the one that says transact because the classic version, you would think that we're going over to the new version. However, we use the other one, and that's the one we've been trained on. So yeah, so more to come on that. I do appreciate your feedback because this will help us to make the decision to keep it easier for everyone. And the goal was not to complicate this for you, I promise. But it definitely is something that we're still working on, and it's a work in progress. So thank you for all being patient as we're working through these systems, because we're learning them too right now. So all right, Aaron, do you have anything for the group before I ask our trivial question, and then we're going to be done for the evening?
Nothing for today that I can think of.
Okay, cool. All right, so I have a question for you guys. I'm going to read the facts, and then you guys tell me what you think. So the facts are: the buyer obtained an inspection report after the parties executed a residential real estate purchase contract. Based on the inspection, the buyer appropriately canceled the contract, identifying various items that she disapproved of. The seller has now requested that the buyer provide the inspection report to the seller. The buyer refuses. The issue is the buyer contractually obligated to provide the inspection report to the seller?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, so we got a no from Eric. We got a no from Brian. Anyone else?
I would say no as well. This is Hannah.
Hannah says no also. All right. Any other thoughts before I share what the legal department says?
I've always thought of it as a courtesy. I never had an issue, or my buyers, of course you get their authorization, because then how else would they know what's in there? What
Yeah.
the books and that kind.
So that was my thought too, Maria. But okay, it says that actually, and the answer is yes. The contract, section 6A, provides buyer shall provide the seller and broker upon receipt at no cost copies of all inspection reports concerning the premises obtained by the buyer. Thus, the buyer is contractually obligated to provide the seller and the broker a copy of the inspection report, even if it's canceled.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is a little. I like doing the trivia because. Go ahead.
It says it's required to provide it, but it doesn't say provide the entire thing.
It says
You could give them the cover page.
yes, you could. Buyer shall provide the seller upon receipt at no cost copies of all inspection reports concerning the premises obtained by the buyer. That's actually in the contract that was originally accepted.
I feel like I've been the other person on the other side where I've asked for the inspection on one of my listings and I've been told no.
I've been the person that said no.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was wrong. So I read through these because I like to, and I like to try to test myself as we navigate this ever-changing real estate industry. And I learn things every single time. So as I read through these and I find the good ones, I definitely will be continuing to bring these to you, because again, all of us on this call, went the opposite direction, including me. So I think these are good, so that we can kind of keep up to date of what's happening out there. And these questions come from the legal department, or the what do you call it, the broker hotline legal aids. So this is the way the answers are answered throughout the industry. So well, it's 7:27. Does anyone have anything else? That's all I have for this evening. If not, then everyone have a wonderful evening. I will be in the office Wednesday through Friday this week, so if anyone wants to pop in, I'll be there. And but if you need anything in the meantime, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text or an email, and we'll get it done. And then I know Brian has some things going on, so he most likely will not be in the office, but he will be available by call if you need him as well.
Yes.
All right. Well, everyone have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Night.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Yep.